my good God.
Welcome to the Breakroom Arcade. Oh my gosh, Logan. My name is Brandon Miracle. I'm your host today. I'm joined by Logan Welliver, our audio engineer and resident gas man.
What's good?
We're also joined by special guest Josiah Gooden from Clockwork Giant developing Volpine.
With Clockwork Giant Games.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you know that.
I was wrong.
Hi, everybody.
Clockwork Giant Games.
Yeah, Jacob's out this week, so we
Yeah, he's at a birthday party.
we needed a replacement.
No, really though, Jacob, he's like, I got a family thing, I can't come. I really think he's just lying, and he actually had to go to a birthday party, and he didn't want us to like rag on him about it.
He didn't want to like perpetuate the
joke
situation. Like, yeah, okay, guys, I'm going to another birthday party.
We love you, Jacob.
Yeah,
it's
I think
okay.
I still believe him in this case, though, because at first he was like, yeah, I can come, and then all of a sudden it was like, no.
Right, it seemed like there was something going on.
Yeah.
Poor kid.
We miss you, Jacob. Anyway, like we always start, I want to ask you guys how your days went, your week, your month, your year. I'm going to start with you, Logan.
I stayed up till 5 a.m. last night, just watching videos and shows and stuff like that. And then I took 2 Benadryl and I knocked out. And then I woke up this morning and I was like, I couldn't function. Like, getting out of bed was like the worst thing ever. And like I still have this lingering like cloud over my head that's like I always have a cloud over my head, right? But it's like lingering, just like bleh. Like it's been following me. It's like, you shouldn't have taken that Benadryl. You would have been perfectly fine without it. So yeah, I mean, I went over to your house, Brandon, and we played some games and stuff like that, and that was fun.
Yeah, always a good time. I was up pretty late last night myself. I don't think I made it to bed until almost 3 o'clock because Logan, you and I, for the majority of the night, were just doing various things for the Breakroom Arcade.
Yup.
Apparently, that kind of stuff takes a lot of time.
You don't say.
Well, to get it like really good and like and the way you want it to where it actually kind of moves along smoothly and everything is organized correctly. Like, organizing stuff is really great, but you have to start with the chaos, and you have to decide like, okay, how is this all this stuff gonna fit together? And so
I've never felt better prepared.
yeah, I definitely feel an aura of progress.
Yeah, we're moving forward. We've got some stuff for you guys to look forward to coming down the line. Joe, how was your week?
My Kickstarter failed.
Why'd you have to be a Debbie Downer?
Jeez.
Oh,
I wasn't going to say anything.
Every day's just a waking nightmare. However, Battlefield 2 recently had an initiative to get everyone to start playing that game again. So a 10-year-old, 11-year-old game even, that I can finally play again. I've been playing that.
Wait,
It's
which
great.
one?
Battlefield 2.
Like Bad Company?
Not Bad Company. Okay, that's in the works. Bad Company's in the works.
Oh, that's coming too?
You can look forward to that.
Oh.
But for now, it's Battlefield 2 and Battlefield 2142.
Oh, okay.
That's super cool.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Have you been enjoying it?
Oh, dude, it's so good. Because there's a game mode in 2142 that they never really made again, where there are flying giant Titan like ships, and your goal is to like launch yourself onto that ship and destroy it, while the other team's trying to launch onto yours and destroy it. So you have to decide whether you want to defend or attack. It's great.
That's awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun.
So that's how my day's been.
Is there any plans going forward with Volpine that you can talk about?
Yeah, we're going to develop it. We're going to keep doing that.
I love it.
And then we're going to do another Kickstarter because we got really close in the worst month for Kickstarter. So as it turns out, we could probably do better in December, the best month for Kickstarters.
Those odds sound fantastic to me.
Yes, they do. Also, we have a lot of people who are really enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, there was definitely a pool of people that came together for that, and it was awesome to see.
Yeah, I mean, and by time December comes around, the game will obviously have progressed.
Yeah, like we're focusing on the combat right now. We want to get that nice and sharp, looking good, feeling good, and maybe a demo of the combat with the Kickstarter. We'll see. That's not a promise.
Yeah, you'll definitely, things will be more looking your way once that happens.
But that'll be nice to see coming here in the next few months. What's not too great to see is some recent news in regards to Palmer Luckey and Oculus. Logan, I'm going to let you take the lead here.
See, I'm a relatively political person, but and I like having good conversation about politics. I also think that people should be able to support who they want to support for whatever reasons, but that's not going to stop people from ripping on one another and totally disagreeing and being rude to each other about it just because you have differing views. So Palmer Luckey came out and said that he, essentially funded these Trump memes, these memes that were like essentially anti-Hillary, which is kind of baffling, especially because he came out and he said that he's voting libertarian. So I am not really sure what the motive is here. If he's actually voting libertarian, I feel like when he said he was voting libertarian, the first thing I thought is like I swear to God he's BSing us, and he's actually a Trump supporter, And it's like either way, there's just a lot of things about Palmer Luckey that a lot of people already had issues with. And so he's literally just like, okay, there is this fire beneath him, and it's pretty hot. And then he's just decided to just pour a little more gas on the flame and stuff like that. And then the fact that he's also, he's in this with this company, Oculus, obviously, that he founded. And if I was anybody else in Oculus, I would find any way I could to boot that man from the company, because he is doing them no good at this point, other than maybe the fact that he's involved with development, but I don't know anything about that. But it just seems like the man just runs his mouth and doesn't know when to stop. And because of this, there are a handful of studios, a lot of them just smaller studios making smaller projects that were going to be on Oculus and said, we're dropping Oculus support. And other developers who were like, we didn't even get around to Oculus because we were doing other stuff. But yeah, if we develop VR games, we're not putting them on Oculus, all because of Luckey. And I think the most well-known developer, Polytron, who is known for Fez.
Fez and Fez.
Said that they are not going to be developing for Oculus. So I don't know how widespread this will be. I could imagine that some of the bigger companies, they don't really care that much, considering that a lot of them are already developing for the Vive. And it seems like the Vive has a better set of legs on it, just in general. Even though it costs $200 more, it also comes with, room scale VR, which, Oculus obviously hasn't done. So I guess my interest in the story is just how people don't really know when to stop or what to admit in the public light, Also, why didn't he say outright that he was voting libertarian? He's trying to cover, for lack of a better word, cover his ass.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's like, oh, well, that probably wasn't a good idea. Oh, guys, I'm actually voting libertarian. I don't know. It's just it's a jumble. It's a mess.
You can't even pin this as a PR move, because obviously all the PR is bad.
Yeah,
I mean, after you get acquired by Facebook, there's literally no worse PR you could possibly get.
True.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of criticism for that move in the first place, so I don't know. I feel like at this point, the Oculus name is just going to crash and burn. But obviously they'll still be developing, they'll still be creating content, so we'll have to see what they actually do. And if people are willing to look past the whole Palmer Luckey thing, obviously some developers aren't willing to do that.
This is probably the worst time for this to happen, because this is the critical sales push for Oculus. Like, this is the time to gain its reputation, become a household name, and to be a product that people want when it's got Vive and PlayStation VR and all these other devices that are coming out.
Yeah, it's even, I mean, even Oculus is attached to, the Samsung Gear.
Right.
Because they co-developed that with, with Samsung. And that's supposed to make VR more accessible.
The thing is, it won't really change entirely too much saying we're not going to develop for Oculus or anything, because there's only two other headsets, PlayStation VR and Vive. If your game works for the Vive, it works for the Oculus, whether or not you want it to. Basically, they're just saying we're not going to put it on the Oculus store, but you can still get it on Steam.
Right, but they're not going to be, putting it on the Oculus. They're not doing Oculus support. Like, there's games that have Oculus and Vive support, so they're not even going to be touching the Oculus. They'll give it the Vive support or whatever else. I know there are other VR headsets in development. Obviously, none that are ready to even, come out. I think... I want to say that the company who made The Witcher 3 picked up Starbreeze VR.
Really? CD Projekt Red?
I believe so. Don't quote me on this.
I won't quote you on anything.
but I remember, they were Starbreeze VR, is, and their big thing, at least according to what I know, is that they have the higher range of peripherals in their VR headset. So I think they're going for 200 degrees. So it's not just straight out, it's it goes a little back too, which I think is interesting. We'll see how it works out. But yeah, I mean, so we'll see what happens with the Oculus. I don't think it's just going to outright fail, but it might not. This is definitely not going to help it moving forward. There are certainly worse technological failures, such as the Wii U.
I'm glad that you brought that up. Wii U, man, what a system. How much? What else can you say?
What else can you say? A Nintendo system that doesn't have its own exclusive Zelda game, and a Nintendo system that was perfect for Pokemon Snap and doesn't have a Pokemon Snap game.
Oh my goodness. So in Europe, Wii U production is ending, and retailers will not be able to order more units after October 1st.
Really?
That is just days away from right now.
Wow.
So that tells me a couple things. One, NX is going to be revealed very, very soon.
You don't say.
Yeah, but it's been very, very soon for 2 weeks.
Right, but I think of anything that's ever happened, this is the most telling that we're basically there. Because once it ends, what are you going to advertise to people? Nothing?
Yeah, also, it should be noted that the time between the release of the NX and then the announcement of the NX, whenever it's announced, besides, unless it's delayed or anything like that, is the shortest time frame of any of the Nintendo consoles.
Reveal to launch.
Yeah, reveal to launch. We have the shortest amount of time because it's supposed to launch, in March or something like that.
And you see it everywhere. There's anxiety about this thing. People are worried. People are excited. No one knows what this thing is. Is this going to be a train wreck, or is this going to be something completely different?
Well, like we discussed last week, the CEO of Pokemon knows what it is. It is, in fact, a hybrid system of some kind.
We can't 100% quote that article because the title of the article is Pokemon will create games for NX.
Yeah, that shouldn't have been the actual news story, but, It is, right? So, obviously, Wii U production is ending, so Nintendo is pushing Wii U out, bringing NX in. Obviously, they're going to leave room for Nintendo 3DS because they have Pokemon coming out in November, so that's probably going to be their holiday title. Wii U's going to have nothing. Paper Mario Color Splash comes out in a week and a half, and that's basically it. That's the swan song. Wii U's over. We're done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what a weird thing.
Yeah, how many games are they actually going to be developing for the Wii U from here on out? Obviously, we'll still get Zelda.
I wouldn't be surprised if Color Splash is the last one. That might be it.
Yeah, other than
Other than
than
Zelda,
Zelda.
which isn't exclusive to the Wii U.
You might as well just buy it on NX.
Because it sounds like it'll look better. And some of
Unless the
textures
NX
are rough.
actually
Yeah.
blows. I am mentally preparing for it. I'm mentally preparing for like, hey guys, here's the NX. And then we're like, this sucks.
Well, I
think
can tell you
everyone-
one person who doesn't think that, and that's the CEO of Ubisoft.
Well, okay, no.
segue.
There's, okay, what did he say, Brandon?
Let me open the
What did
article.
he say?
Don't push me.
Oh,
Come on.
man. Keep pushing him.
Don't-
Make it sound like he's not prepared.
I'm prepared.
Sure you are.
I clicked on the wrong article.
I'm pulling back the veil.
I will tell
on
you
this
what the
podcast.
Ubisoft CEO says.
I got it.
Okay.
The new
I'll let-
Nintendo console is a fantastic machine. It's really a new approach. It's really Nintendo. That's a worrying statement in some regards. Coming with something new again, we love it. What we see is players are more open when new hardware is coming, so we have the chance to come with something we have never done before because we know if we are there first, people will try the game and maybe we'll be able to get into the new genre. So you were saying this earlier, Josiah. Ubisoft is always there at launch, and that's no different here.
They're there at launch with 5 titles for every new console every single time. They get tons of money from that. Even if they just put out terrible, terrible garbage, they're always there. And then they usually disappear after that for Nintendo.
That's true. I think the last Ubisoft game that came out on a Nintendo platform was Assassin's Creed 4.
Did Watch Dogs come over to the Wii U?
You're right. Watch Dogs
recently?
is... I have it on Wii U.
And it's like a really not great version of it.
It's a perfectly fine port.
Is it?
Yeah, it runs perfect.
Okay, I have heard differing things than that.
I don't think it's bad.
So here's the thing with Ubisoft, and obviously they do this, but it's smart. It's smart to talk up a new console. It's smart to engage consumers.
Yes, it is.
Because guess what? If this does happen to be a product in which it just sells like hotcakes, and Ubisoft has the potential to make so much money. I mean, look what they did with Just Dance on the Wii. Though each one of those games sold like millions and millions of copies. Like Just Dance 3, I think was well over like 10 million copies. That's a lot of money from a game that I'm not sure even cost a ton to develop. Considering like the game didn't change through like at all.
It didn't change. You were basically just buying a track list.
Right.
Right.
And I think they've gotten more into like I think they just started putting year numbers on them and then just releasing them yearly. But yeah, like especially those kind of games, those games sell really well on Nintendo platforms because they tend to be more family oriented for the most part.
It also helped popularize the idea behind the system.
Right. So, I mean, just being there, I feel like I don't really take his opinion, I don't really hold it that highly because it's ultimately a business move.
He's doing this to help drive sales for a console that he wants to sell products on.
He may perhaps feel that personally about the console. He probably maybe sees the potential in what it could be.
They saw more potential in Wii U than Nintendo did.
Yeah, and
Also, you have to remember, Ubisoft's in a hot seat right now because they are slowly being overtaken by another corporation by seizing all of their stocks, and they are attempting to reverse that as quickly as they possibly can.
This could be a move of desperation as well.
Yes.
Well, Ubisoft, while they're always there at launch, like with Wii U, they made an honest attempt at making a good game that utilized the system's functionality. Zombie U, while kind of mediocre at best, was a great idea. It utilized the gamepad probably better than most of Nintendo's own software. I can't actually think of a better way that Nintendo used it than Ubisoft with Zombie U. Zombie U kind of came and went, but they also were there with Rayman Legends, and they intended on that being a Wii U exclusive. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out the way they wanted it to. It came out on Wii U first. They actually apologized that it wasn't exclusive. They actually seemed fairly broken up about that. Can't say yes or no to the truth behind that, but they're making honest attempts at making the console worth owning. And I think that's important. That's the most important thing we can really gather from this. So we know Ubisoft will be there at NX's launch. They're probably going to utilize the game's functionality. Joe, you're staring at me so intently right now.
Yeah, right?
I'm good. So Ubisoft will probably be there with about 2 or 3 games for NX's launch, and one of them is probably going to utilize system functionality and help drive sales. That's the most important thing. Any other thoughts on that?
No, that just makes sense. I mean, I don't think there's a ton to say about it other than the fact that, like, I don't think it guarantees that the NX is going to be a hit, you know? Which is, like, ultimately, like, I personally really, really want the NX to be a hit because that'll give Nintendo a foothold to make more great games. But, I mean, they can't just release a great console. They have to release more Breath of the Wilds. They need to they need to release games that people are looking at and being like, holy crud, I need this game. This game is doing things that other games haven't. This game is giving me an experience that I really want, and it can't be replicated by many other games, you know? Because obviously there's, like, say for PC gamers, like, there's a lot on PC. You can have a lot of different experiences, a lot of great quality experiences, you know, as well. Not just half-assed experiences like No Man's Sky. I feel like it's the new cool thing to, like, rip on No Man's Sky, but it's like I still hope that game turns into something that's more enjoyable.
I liked it for 3 hours.
We ripped on No Man's Sky in one of our Kickstarter updates. The one where
the
one where we failed.
So, yeah, I mean, I hope they're right. I hope all of these CEOs and leaders of the companies who have actually seen the NX actually, truly, personally believe that it can be a success.
Hopefully NX has been seen by enough people to have enough games at launch.
This makes me wish that I was sitting in for your NX podcast.
Oh, you have so much to say.
I love talking about the NX.
Well, moving forward with NX, DigiTimes is reporting that Foxconn will be producing 9.5 to 10 million NX units per year. That's a lot.
Oh, they're going with Foxconn.
Foxconn.
Don't they always?
That's controversial. Do they always?
I think they always.
Is said to be the main manufacturer of Nintendo's next-gen platform.
Man.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they did the Wii U and, like, the Wii.
It looks like Misumi Electronics is also going to be helping out, probably with camera parts, because they're a camera company. What do you guys think about that? That's a lot of units.
It's a lot of units. They could probably do it.
How much did Wii U sell in its first year?
Not that much. I mean, 13 million in total.
If you want, I can ask my phone on this podcast.
Well, the thing is, like, if this had been Wii U numbers, they would have so much overstock.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, with producing that many units right off the bat, they can anticipate, you know, lower costs per unit. So this will also, and if it is a success and they are just like, wow, there's so many, like, obviously this puts them at less of a risk to, you know, do what the Wii did, and, like, you couldn't find a Wii for, like, months after it launched.
Wii U pre-orders were also kind of rough because they sold out in, like, less than an hour.
I remember. You have to wonder, are they expecting Wii-like sales for this thing?
Miyamoto is incredibly confident in whatever this new idea is.
Miyamoto's confident in everything, though.
Well, he doesn't want the idea to be stolen, which is a ludicrous thought to me.
Okay, I didn't want to bring this up earlier, but I'm bringing it up now.
Do it.
They stated one of the reasons for not showing the NX is because they don't want it to be stolen. What idea is so not proprietary to this device that it could be stolen in less than 6 months?
You bring up a good point, and I've been thinking that myself.
Is the idea of this thing so simple that anyone could do this? Is it uncopyrightable? Can they not put a patent on this thing?
They sure like their patents.
They sure like their patents.
Maybe it's just a really novel combination of things. Because, I mean, what if this thing releases and we were like, wow, I totally never thought of that. Because I'm thinking of how this thing could work. How a hybrid console, a home mobile console could work and it actually be desirable. Like, I'm always concerned. I'm like, okay, if you put the sides of the controller onto the screen, like, how is that not going to be clunky? Like, how is that not going to be like, oh man, I totally...
Nintendo has always been good with their controllers. I would not expect them to design a bad controller.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, like, how does this functionally work? Is it going to be easy to use? Is it going to be desirable? Or is it just going to feel like, oh my gosh, like...
It sounds like they're anticipating this to be as exciting and new as Wii was back in 2005.
Like, you have to wonder, what is this? Because everyone knows that Nintendo's only chance is to make something completely different from their competitors. That's the only chance they have.
Yep.
They can't make just a better Wii U.
No one would buy it.
No one would buy that. So, if the new thing is so copyable, what does that say?
Does that mean... How good of an idea can be if it's super easy to copy? That's what you're getting at, right?
Yes.
No, I mean, I don't think
the idea
that's...
can be good, but if it's so easily copyable, what makes this that unique?
But okay, I think the difference might be here is like how practical it could be. Now, if this is something that everybody thinks would be desirable, I'm not going to lie to myself. If I had a singular console that I could bring over to Brandon's or Josiah's house, and then also plug in and just play on my TV, that sounds freaking fantastic.
That would change the way that you play games with your friends.
But everything depends on the execution of it. How easy is it going to be to use? How much sense does it make?
Are they going to market it right?
Are they going to market it right? Is it going to have the right price point? You know, is it going to be powerful enough where people... You know, obviously the Wii was underpowered when it came out, but that didn't stop it from being a success. They probably could have had a longer life cycle if halfway through they did, you know, the Wii HD, you know. That's possible. Obviously, PS4 is doing that. Xbox is doing that. So, obviously, in the power department, maybe it's not, like, super powerful right off the bat, but maybe a year down the road, they're like, here's an upgraded version. And obviously, we live in the age of smartphones, which get an update every freaking year.
I think consoles are moving in that direction.
I would
Nintendo does not
agree.
need to be the most powerful console on the market to be the most successful. That's never been true. Because like Joe said, if you just make a souped-up Nintendo console, people aren't going to buy it because Xbox and Sony, they just own that market. It's like Nintendo owning the handheld market. They're not going to break into that. Sony's tried twice to get into the handheld market with PSP and PS Vita, and it just didn't work. So Nintendo has to do something new, has to do something fresh, and do something different. Which is kind of funny, because that's the thing that they always get criticized for. But they have to do it. That's the problem.
And they'll be criticized for it this
Yeah.
time again.
They'll always be criticized.
It is a cycle.
But they need to keep it up this time because I feel like they get comfortable. They got really comfortable with the Wii, and then look what happened.
Wii U was a completely unfulfilled design. And my hope is that NX would be the opposite of that. They're like, oh man, we really didn't do anything with this console because we didn't think it through. NX has to be different.
Yeah, I would hope to God that Nintendo is just putting all the resources in development.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Based on what we understand this console to be, it's going to be tailored to that smartphone audience, hybrid console handheld unit. You could possibly go over to your friends with your NX controller/console, because the console will be in the controller, and then play 2-player on one system. Does that sound like an idea that you would buy into?
I would like another handheld. That's just it. That's where I'm at. I just want handhelds by Nintendo.
But it's going to be one.
But it's also going to be a console weird thing.
So, okay, yeah, here's
But
the
you
other
can play
thing.
it however you want to.
Here's the thing. It's like I want a handheld. I want something that's comfortable to play, that's not too bulky. I just want to... And I don't even care that, like, it's as small as, like, the 3DS. Like, I don't even put my 3DS in my pocket. I just throw it in my backpack. It's obviously going to be small enough where I can throw it in my backpack without worrying about it or something like that. But, like, can I sit there and look at the screen and can I play the games that I want to play? Especially, like, smaller experiences, obviously, just playing it, you know, on this screen. But then, like, obviously, what was it? What was I playing earlier? We were playing Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I was saying to Brandon, I was like, man, I would love to put this on the TV right now. I would absolutely love.
We're playing 4 Ultimate.
Okay.
He invited me to play Generations yesterday, and I didn't.
Yeah.
I got for everyone because this is an audio podcast. I gave Brandon a look.
Yeah, I got the menacing look.
I hopefully will get Generations pretty soon. But the fact is, like, I like having it on the go. I like being able to, like, bring my 3DS over to a friend's house and I'll just play locally in the same room and, like, communicate with each other, and that's awesome. But half the time I'm like, son of a gun, can I just put this up on a TV? Because I don't want to look on this small little screen right now. I want to play it on the TV. So having those games where you could, like, okay, do you want it on the TV? You just plug it into the TV. Just like literally, look, I'm putting it on the TV.
You bring up an interesting point. Monster Hunter was popularized on console before eventually blowing up on handheld. One of our good friends, Alvin, has just completely dropped Monster Hunter because it's handheld only now. He has a 3DS, but he doesn't want to play on it. He wants to play on his TV, and that's an option he doesn't have. Monster Hunter Tri-Ultimate was an interesting case because they released it on 3DS and on Wii U and had cross-play between the two. Kind of. The thing is, with NX, it wouldn't be kinda, it would just be cross-play. It would be play.
Cross-play.
It would just be play.
So how cool would it be if, like, I'm just over at my house, hey guys, I'm playing Monster Hunter, and you guys are playing on your TVs, and they're like, actually, we gotta go get together anyway, and so you guys all come over, and we can still play. It doesn't matter, because everybody just brings theirs with, but whenever they get home, they can just throw it up. Imagine all of, like, the Nintendo games, that would be just fantastic. Or if everybody needed a separate screen.
So asymmetrical gameplay, except everyone has their own screen. Playing on 3DS, basically.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if this ends up just being a handheld that's powerful, I'll be happy with that. And that would also explain why they're making so many, because Nintendo sells more handhelds than they do a Wii U.
I'm glad that you said that then. So I think I've asked this question before, but when they go to market NX, do they market it? That was Josiah's phone.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Do they market it as a handheld, or do they market it as a console, or do they market it as a handheld that does both? What do they do?
They need to. I think they should start with the handheld stuff. Like, make it known that, like, you can play this on here, you know. But also you have to encompass the entire environment. You have to somehow communicate the idea that this is what it is. It's a lot of things, but this is what it is. You know, and so people need to know that they can do both, because, like, if they're just like, I don't take my smartphone and, you know, put it on the TV. I know there's, like, screencasting on, like, YouTube, but that's only, like, for, like, certain things.
There's an easy way for them to do this. Remember the original Wii U conceptual trailer that they showed us of the guy sitting in his living room? His dad wanted to watch sports, so he started playing New Super Mario Brothers on his gamepad. Well, what if that exact same thing happens, except the kid gets up, goes outside, and takes a walk to the park, and is still playing New Super Mario Brothers? Boom. It makes sense. I understand what happened.
Nintendo's not very good at making people understand what their thing is.
We left E3 not knowing for sure if Wii U was a console or a controller.
Exactly. Some people were really confused about that, even though they showed a new console.
It didn't help that they had Wii in the title.
They should have gone out and said, hey, this is what this is. Nintendo's not very good at that track record-wise.
Well, like when they revealed the new Nintendo 3DS, hey, this is a 3DS with extra power. I think they marketed that just fine.
Yeah, they did that actually pretty well, except it's called New Nintendo 3DS, which is a terrible name.
So that's the other thing. Nintendo is not so great at naming their units. So, like, Wii U was the absolute worst thing they could have named that console.
That's one of the reasons why that thing failed.
Yeah, it's
so
exactly.
Do we think that it's just going to be called the NX, and the NX is going to, like, stand for something?
I think
No.
NX would be a good name.
I don't think they'll go with NX because they didn't go with Dolphin, they didn't go with Revolution.
They went with DS. DS was the code name for that.
No way.
And it was named the DS when it came out.
Was it not just called the dual screen during development?
Yeah. But what's the Nintendo DS called?
DS.
What does DS stand for?
dual screen, but
It's the same thing.
yeah, but that's the code name versus the branding.
Right, so we could kind of do a reverse here. NX could mean two different things, and the name of the console could be whatever they stand for.
I can't think of an X word.
Gnarly xylophone.
I can only think of xylophone.
That's
the only X word I
that's the thing here, guys. It's not a console. It's an extremely advanced xylophone.
No, it's you guys remember Monster Hunter Cross? It's Nintendo Cross. Boom, you're done.
got. Jeez. Nintendo Cross.
And then when they bring it to America, they'll call it Nintendo Generations.
But it makes sense that it would be called the NX. Like, if the X in Japan a lot of the times just represents cross, what if it is the Nintendo Cross in
There's
the sense
no real
of like
colloquialism here for America.
The X also means no in Japanese, so maybe it's no.
You could be onto something, Joe.
They're like, no, this.
IGN just did a podcast where they played a game where they named what the NX would be named when it came out, and they had some relatively simple ones like Nintendo Go, the Nintendo. NX was one of the answers. I personally think my answer to that was Nintendo Unite.
you need to, but it sounds so cheesy. Like,
Well, does it sound any cheesier than Wii?
yeah, but Wii was easy to digest. And also, the marketing campaign for that freaking console was like, oh my god. Like,
We would like to play?
We would like to play. And it's like, Wii U.
Well,
No.
Then what would you call it?
I don't know. I think something that conveys the idea that it does what it does. So, like, I guess the Wii didn't really do that, but
No, it didn't. It didn't at all.
how did they? Why? How? I actually, that baffles me. This is a question that I don't think I
Wii
ever
U was
re-
a better name in that regard than Wii was.
right. So I mean, unless they were like just like we want to bring people together, so we're gonna call it the Wii.
I guess in terms of the psychology, or not the psychology, the philosophy of the console, that makes sense.
Yeah, but
Wii U was like, there's Wii with the Wii remotes, and then there's U with the gamepad.
yeah, no, that was just awful.
That was not great.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
I hopefully we'll be able to laugh in confidence after the NX has been released about the Wii U. Because right now, every time there's a Wii U joke, I'm like, oh god, that's so sad. But like, Nintendo has had missteps before.
Virtual Boy.
Yeah, Virtual Boy. I mean, even the GameCube in a sense was a misstep. Specifically, the design of the console was off-putting to some people.
I personally think, like, 10 years down the road, people are going to look at Wii U the same way they look at the GameCube now. Obviously, I don't think Wii U has nearly as many games that the GameCube did, but all those first-party titles were really strong.
Wait, what first-party titles are there for the Wii U?
Splatoon,
There's Splatoon. There's Pikmin 3.
Super Smash Bros.
Super Smash Bros.
You just said Pikmin, right?
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8.
Yo, Mario Kart 8,
Sure,
yeah.
Mario Kart, whatever.
Super Mario Maker.
Super Mario Maker.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
that
Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Yoshi's Woolly World. Kirby and the Rainbow Curse.
No.
Eh.
No.
You just named
No!
3 games that I'm like,
Yoshi's Woolly World's fantastic. Kirby can go die in a garbage pit. for all I
Dear
care.
Lord, Kirby's.
Kirby's an
awful.
experiment series.
Yeah, but why would they do a game that wasn't that great and then make a sequel to it?
On a console that it made even less sense to put it on.
Exactly.
They're like trying to like, hey, let's do DS games, except make them HD and just put them on the Wii U.
I like that you didn't say Star Fox, by the way.
Star Fox. Oh yeah, Star Fox Zero.
Was that good? I didn't play it.
Star Fox Zero is decent.
Okay.
Star Fox Guard is okay. You can gauge which one means better.
I can't.
But the fact that we got a
The fact that Star Fox even happened.
Yeah.
You could say that Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD are first-party titles, even though they were developed by other companies.
I mean, so was Star Fox Zero.
Star Fox Zero was co-developed by Platinum.
Right. But it was still.
Oh, and then Bayonetta 2 was co-developed by Nintendo, wasn't it? Or was it published?
It was published.
Yeah, that was all Platinum.
They
But
did have a big
The
part in
fact
that
that Bayonetta 2 is on the Wii U and it's not on any other consoles.
Man, what a great game.
It's so good. So yeah, there's a pretty strong library there. It obviously could have been much better than it was, but this is all we got. We have to work with it. At the end, they were just like, let's port a bunch of Wii U games to 3DS, and then let's make a bunch of handheld games on Wii U. Maybe that's why they're making NX. Anyway, I'm moving on to the next topic.
I hope so.
So Nintendo recently released a patent. Oh my goodness, they never do that. So this patent is pretty strange, much like all the other ones. It's a projector that displays flat images on uneven surfaces.
Cool.
So in the picture here, it's the this is Wii Fit. It's a picture of Wii Fit, and they're projecting it on a wall that has protruding blocks on it, and it appears flat.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
So it's like a witness puzzle.
I guess. So my first impression is, what are they going to do with this?
What are you gonna do with this?
I don't think it's gonna be on the NX, at least not yet. There's no projection here.
It's gonna be on NX. It's gonna be part of the handheld unit, and you're gonna project it anywhere.
No, this is gonna be like the weird Japanese only peripheral that they release for like a super exaggerated price.
And then it probably will bomb, and then America will never get it. It's gonna be the Nintendo 64 disk drive.
And then in 20 years, someone will find the only surviving development kit for it in America.
I'll be watching Metal Jesus Rocks for whenever that happens. Shout out to you, my friend. What a weird concept.
I think it could be useful, but I don't think it'd be useful without having hey guys.
There's a lot going on here. The unit that is projecting is doing a bunch of calculations to correct the way the image projects.
But also, how useful is this for anyone sitting at a slightly different angle?
And if you're sitting there playing your handheld game, which is I assume is what this would work on, why would you want to project it
Anywhere.
out so anybody can just see what you're playing?
Yeah,
I wouldn't do that.
So I think it's just a proof of concept, obviously. It's just a patent. This isn't something that's going to be on any of their products super soon. They probably have a million different patents that they patent.
This probably just isn't ever going to happen. This patent, though, is a bit more interesting in the fact that they actually have Wii Fit on there.
You know what? They will probably license out that patent to some Japanese projector company, and that'll be the end of that.
I guess.
At the most. It's you never saw Nintendo's a VR headset that they patented. They just throw out patents all the time, and sometimes they license them out.
What was the one peripheral that they had for the Wii?
Vitality sensor.
The vitality sensor.
Yeah.
What a thing.
What was it gonna do?
Okay, he's alive, guys. Everything's good.
I know I don't remember what game it is, but there's that horror game that reads your emotions and then makes the horror worse when you're feeling distressed.
Yeah, I was about to say you could make things happen depending on what your stress level was. If you have a higher heart rate, maybe it's we're gonna mess with them now, in the game. But what happens if somebody just has a naturally high heart rate? Actually, maybe that would actually be good. Say okay, my little brother, he had thyroid problems. His heart rate, this is a few years ago, his heart rate was constantly at 130 or above, and all
That's
this other
high.
yeah,
That's
it's awful. Obviously that got fixed. So but say he was having these problems and he was trying to play with a vitality sensor, and it's he just inherently had a harder time than anybody else.
And then his stress levels went up higher because he was getting discouraged.
It also sounds like a living hell for anyone with anxiety issues.
Yeah, that'd be a no-go.
That's a no-go. That's a one-way ticket to Panic Attack Town.
Panic Attack Town?
Yeah, Panic Attack Town. Don't go there.
I thought it was going to be a one-way ticket to Panic Attack, and you just took it a whole step further from me.
Yeah. There's an entire town.
The whole town.
They're all having panic attacks. You have to go to each one of them and tell them it'll be okay. This'll pass and you'll be all right.
Just an anxiety-ridden city. Everybody in the city just has an anxiety disorder.
And then everyone in Comfort Town next door can hear them moaning from a distance.
They're too comfy to get out of the beds.
No.
Jeez, how do you segue out of that? Like this. So next thing I want to talk about is
Congrats.
Thank you. Our favorite animated movies. This is the miscellaneous topic, which I still don't have a title for yet. So I just want to talk about favorite animated movies and would you make a sequel? And what would you call it? Logan, I'm gonna just dive right in. Go for it.
You thought about this beforehand, right? We gave you.
Did you think?
I
gave me the
was
question.
thinking really long and hard, and
Yeah.
I'm not confident that I have. There's so many animated movies. Okay, I'm just gonna go with an easy one. This may be definitive. This may not be definitive. But I just animated movies. Is that any type of animation?
Any type of animation.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. One of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Toy Story.
Yeah.
One of the first, fully computer generated 3D
It is the
mod.
first. It's the first feature length.
Yes. Yeah. First feature length one. And that movie just did so many things right. I actually watched a video and they were referencing just all the things that movie did right off the bat. Specifically with the style of animation and the, actual effects and stuff like that. But that movie, it just forever changed what animation was, And obviously, yes, I would make a sequel. I would make 2 sequels. Called Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3.
And the third one would be worse, right?
No, the third one was fantastic. They
Get
are
outta here
all
with that.
on par, in my personal opinion.
And the second one would be the best out of all 3, right?
Toy Story 1. Toy Story 1 is the worst of the 3 movies.
Thank you.
That's what I'm gonna say.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't really speak on that, but just like the significance of Toy Story 1, obviously, they had a lot of improvements to Toy Story 2 visually, and then obviously the visuals with 3 were, much better, and just, I think those movies did really well. Now, talking about would I make a sequel, when I first, watched Toy Story 3, and I'm bawling my eyes out because it's the end of a saga.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this beautiful, beautiful thing. They purposely left one thing unanswered. And that's what the 4th movie is going to center around. They made the 3rd movie knowing that they were going to make a 4th movie. And that's why they left it unanswered. And the question is, where the heck is Bo Peep? I was so disappointed in that movie. That was my biggest disappointment that bothered me the entire time, is they mentioned Bo Peep once. Woody gets super distraught and super upset, and they just move on from it. And you're like...
Yeah, they never talk about it again.
They never talk about it. And that's what the next movie's going to be. They were setting... That sets up the next movie, because it's going to be a romance story. Specifically, that's what it's going to revolve around. I don't know how it's going to work in terms of, the toy aspect, because, the toy aspect of, the specific, all 3 of them were just really strong. It's these are what toys mean to children, and this is what it means when you grow up, and there's still people to enjoy those toys, and it was really warm and feely. So I want to know, how is it just going to be the same thing, or are they, is it going to be the same thing and they're just going to tell a different story around it? Because if so, meh. It'll be a good movie, but it won't be anything super, super special.
If it's not as great as the previous 3 movies, they're tarnishing, one of the biggest awards you can just put on that franchise is that all 3 movies are good.
Oh, they're all fantastic.
Yeah, you can name a worst one. It's definitely one. But of these 5-star movies, which one is the least 5-star?
Right? It's not every day that, each movie in a trilogy gets better than the one before it.
Yeah.
It's not
yeah,
that's
it's
very unique.
It's a fantastic franchise, and
I was initially bothered that Toy Story 4 was happening because Toy Story 3 1 through 3 is such a complete package.
Sure.
And I was done. I had I had given up Toy Story at the end. That's what the end of that movie was all about. Like,
But
you're putting it to rest.
More. Come back for more.
Yeah, and then coming back for more. I was done already.
And also, like, Pixar, like, Toy Story is Pixar. Like, when you think of Pixar,
It's synonymous with it.
you think of Toy Story and just they did those movies right. But in the last few years, they've also done some movies that were very wrong. Cars 2 never should have happened. And they're playing Cars 3.
I mean, they should definitely make Cars 2 and 3 because that way they can keep, getting money.
Well, and then Disney Animation Studios made Planes, and then made a sequel to Planes, Fire and Rescue.
Jeez.
That's called merchandise.
Yeah, and they did it all right. The first one was okay.
I never saw it.
Why
I never
would you
had
watch
any
it?
interest.
Why did you watch it?
Because I had to go out on a date, and I needed a movie idea.
I thought Cars.
You couldn't think of a better
the
movie for a
first
date?
Cars was a little bit overreaching with their like, oh, this is what it is. But
I thought
all
the
in all,
first one was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. It was a fun movie. I remember watching it, and really quite enjoying it. But then there's like a second one. I'm like, this doesn't seem necessary at all, and the premise was awful. It was awful. They're like, we're gonna make a spy movie, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. He's a race car. You have to keep doing the race car thing. Like, jeez.
Planes was actually a better Cars 2 than Cars 2 was.
Oh,
Because it
what?
was about racing planes.
Yeah, racing planes.
Yeah, they had plane races. It was cool.
Those are things that there's a
Jeez.
thing that exists, by the way.
Yeah, but it's not as like.
It's not as easy to digest as like cars on a racetrack. Everyone knows cars on a racetrack.
Cars move forward. Done.
Cars move fast, sting like a bee, whatever Lightning McQueen says.
And they have eyes for windshields. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so I mean, just getting off of Cars, because we all know Cars 2
It's your
was
favorite
a
movie.
literal wreck. No, that's the kind of movie. Okay, like you ever get those movies where you're like, these are awful animated movies, and those are the movies you put on when you're trying to like get in with a girl.
You gotta. Well,
Because those are the movies. When somebody says, me and so-and-so are watching Cars 2, you know exactly what's going down.
I was gonna
Brandon,
move on,
Brandon,
but you
you
just
were
like
I am
stopped
not
me.
done with this. I am not
You were
done.
so ready to agree with him. You were pointing in his direction, and then he said, "Get in with a girl," and you just like completely collapsed.
That's what
so
happens
good.
every single time. I'm like, what is the most awful animated movie that I can put on so nobody's interested in what we're watching, and all there is left to do is the physical stuff.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my God, Logan!
You know it's true. You know it's true.
No, I don't, Logan.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Anyway,
That was a soapbox. Oh my goodness. What I was gonna say before is that you didn't answer the other part of my question. It's just, oh yeah, keep him going. What? So Toy Story. Say Toy Story 4 wasn't happening. What would be the logical sequel for you? And what would you call it? Toy Story 4?
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously Toy Story, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3. And so, like, I would obviously just keep going. Toy Story 4. It just makes sense. From a marketing standpoint, it fits, it feels right, whatever. If it wasn't happening in the way it was, I don't know. I might even just start over. I would get a whole new cast of characters.
Something more modern?
Yeah, something maybe a little bit more modern, with just a whole new set of characters. And now
Kids aren't playing with toys because of smartphones.
Oh my gosh!
Yep,
no.
there you go. There's
So,
the
like-
entire plot. You did it.
But like obviously that would be, I don't know, actually that might be an awful idea considering like some of
Keep going.
those toys, were just so iconic at that point. When they released the movies, they're like, these are toys that people are already playing with.
You integrate modern toys into the movie, but I don't think you would abandon the classic.
No, not at all.
You gotta have the Bop It in there. Bop It's gotta be a character. Everyone knows Bop It.
Dear Lord. Yeah, and annoying that would be like, oh crap, Bop It's on his way. Bop It. Dear Lord.
Man.
He like walks up to you, pull it. Twist it.
It's all you can say. It's just like the keyboard typing thing or whatever.
It's called a speak and spell.
Speak and spell.
Yes.
And then you
gonna say
also had the why I can't remember the name of the thing. You do the etch and sketch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The etch and sketch. It was fantastic. So obviously, like, Toy Story just came around at the right time as well.
It started a renaissance. Joe, I'm gonna move on to you.
All right, I'm gonna move on to Brandon.
All right, Joe, I'm moving back to you.
Okay, I'm gonna move to Brandon.
What's your favorite animated movie?
No, his and I are too similar.
Uh-oh.
What is it? Just say it.
The Incredibles.
The Incredibles?
Actually, I was gonna say something about The Incredibles, but just go back to you.
Go for it.
I like that film a lot.
It was a great.
You got anything else?
No, it's a really good film.
Would you make a sequel?
No, but they are.
Oh.
Actually,
Why don't you want them to make a sequel?
It kind of tied itself off pretty well. I mean, they can do more with that, but I don't see why. And this was actually like a tie between two movies. It was either that or Monsters, Inc.,
Monsters, Inc. is a good movie.
which I would absolutely say no to a sequel.
that's why they did.
Did you see Monsters University?
Nope.
I honestly think you're missing out.
Yeah, me too.
Definitely give it a watch.
I like the fact that they went the prequel route with
Yeah,
it.
that was the better way to do that. Yeah, I think you're kind of right. Incredibles doesn't necessarily need a sequel. Doesn't mean I don't want to see one happen.
Yeah,
if they
I
can
was
do
gonna
it
say,
right.
of all of the movies that are currently in production by Pixar, which there's a lot, and they've announced they're like one every year.
We're on the Marvel cycle now, guys.
Remember The Good Dinosaur? Me neither.
Well, that's I think that movie was in development for so long that it just ended up like we finished Inside Out before it, and then they released Inside Out, and they're like, "This is a pretty good movie." And then they did The Good Dinosaur, and they're like, "I think they were so focused on like the technical aspect of it that they forgot to write a story."
All they did was they just made Finding Nemo and Lion King at the same time, and that was The Good Dinosaur.
Man, this is making me remember I should watch Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yeah,
It's
so good. Oh my
I have
goodness.
not seen that yet. Also, Zootopia was okay.
You have 2 copies of it.
I own 2 copies of it, not by my own choice.
But you have 2. That's the important thing.
Yep.
That movie made a ton of money.
It did. I enjoyed it. I don't think it was the best thing ever.
Thinly veiled symbolism.
I think actually no, this is funny.
Very
I think
forceful themes.
ultimately, me and my little brother Ethan, we sat. Okay, so we got it from Redbox, and we popped it in the Blu-ray player, and we were waiting on like I think my sister and my brother and like I think somebody else was there, and we were just waiting on them because they were out back, and so we sat there on the menu. And it just has this loop of different animals running across in the subway station. And we just sat there analyzing it the whole time. Like, why did they choose to make the giraffe do this? Or actually, the giraffe would walk across the screen. You wouldn't even see the giraffe's head. You just see its body. Because it's so tall, right? That's funny. Or you see the train come by and there's 3 different doors. There's like the big door, there's a little door, and then there's a teeny door. And you see like a mouse like get into the teeny door right before it goes off. And you can just like tell the characters, like the characteristics and the way they move obviously were based on, okay, if we gave this certain type of animal a personality, what would it be? And I think they did fantastic with that.
Yeah, that part of the film is really, really good.
Honestly, I felt like the world building fell a little flat.
Really?
They do a lot of cool things like with the different animals and how they would live in society. But you know how they had all the different areas? Like they had a Sahara, they had a snow land, and then a plains.
I feel like they didn't flesh it out
They
enough.
did not flesh that out at all. When they took time to introduce you to those things, but then they didn't really do anything with them after that.
Right.
So that's why it fell a little flat for me. Everything else that you guys were mentioning were obviously standouts for me. There's the one scene in the movie where they go talk to the sloth. His name is Flash.
In the DMV?
In the DMV. It was the funniest scene in the whole movie by far.
That's a really good scene, just like in general in film.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the
and it
scene they
uses world
showed
building to do
off.
it.
Yeah.
They showed off. That was the one scene that like everybody saw before they saw the
Yeah,
movie.
everyone saw that scene.
Yeah.
And then they're like, here's the rest of the film.
Don't.
Shakira's a gazelle. in that film. I want everyone to remember that Shakira is a gazelle in a film.
Why didn't they make Adele the gazelle?
Oh my god.
I left that movie like...
Brandon, Pixar should hire you. No, that's not even Pixar.
I know, but
That's just Disney
That's
animation.
just Disney.
But I mean, Pixar's Disney too, but that's not exactly.
I
Pixar.
think that Disney Animation Studios have kind of like surpassed Pixar at this point.
Yep.
Pixar is having some rough times.
Yeah.
Remember when they weren't going to make any sequels and then they made a whole lot of them?
Hey, remember
Yeah, that's all
those
we ever get
sequels?
now.
Huh?
Remember all the sequels? And how they're like, we'll only make a sequel if we think it's going to be better than the first one.
Okay,
and then
wait.
They made a sequel. It was called Toy Story 2, and it was better than all of the films.
That was going to be a straight to DVD movie too.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Glad it wasn't, because it's the best of the trilogy.
Okay, actually, that was gonna say, like, how did you guys feel about Inside Out? Just really quick.
I thought it was great.
Eh.
I didn't enjoy. This is kind of weird, but the scenes I liked most were the ones that took place in the real world.
Yep.
I did not like the majority of the scenes that took place inside.
Yep.
Because I didn't quite get it.
Yep.
Like, there wasn't a whole lot to go on there. They had like the main hub, and then like the memories would go in and out. But all the worlds on the outside were like, I thought it was kind of dumb.
Okay.
What did you think then? Because it seems like you probably.
I mean, I remember really enjoying that film. I do remember, like, I don't think, like, the narrative was terribly, like, impressive or anything like that, but it was an enjoyable film, and then I really liked the concept of the brains, you know, and the emotions. I do actually, in retrospect, kind of wish that they did more of that, because I remember at the very end of the film...
I was just going to say that.
The very end of the film, they showed off the different, like... hubs, the emotions of the different characters.
They honestly teased what the movie should have been.
Yeah, and so like I feel like if they did do a sequel, they could make it infinitely better than the first one. But at the same time, I feel like if that was like more of an adult oriented movie, like you could just see like how the emotions just like handle people, and they're literally just driving these people or something like that, and just making them do like absurd things.
The thing about like animated films that are targeted towards adults is that they fail, and that's the worst part.
Yeah, because then they just try to
ones.
go really, really just dirty, like Sausage Party. And
No. I don't mean like an adult film. I mean the animated film geared towards adults. I mean something like that you can actually engage with.
Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yeah, which failed really badly.
In box office,
In box office, yes.
Which is sad, because didn't the previous films by that studio do better? Like Coraline?
They made Coraline?
Yeah.
They made Coraline, Box Trolls, and there was one more.
You know, that makes complete sense once you have said it.
They all had the same budget, too.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
They're all the same
I
company.
kind of forgot about Coraline.
I like Box Trolls a whole lot.
I didn't watch it.
I watched it on a whim, because honestly it didn't seem very appealing to me, but then I watched it and it was very good.
You know, sometimes you watch a film on a whim, and then you like it more than you would have if you like had seeked it out, right?
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Logan and I went to see Hell or High Water without really knowing anything.
Oh, that movie
you had a
was
blast.
really
We
good.
loved it, yeah.
Really good. Okay, so they did, obviously, Kubo and the Two Strings, Coraline, Box Trolls, Paranorman,
That's the one I forgot.
and my personal favorite, Tim Burton's Corpse Bride.
Oh, well, of course.
One of my favorite disappointments.
It was Corpse Bride?
Yes.
How was it disappointing?
You know, I don't know what I was getting in with that film. I don't know what I expected.
Did you just go in with too high of expectations?
I went in with like actual expectations, and also the film was shorter than I thought it was, but it makes sense.
Well,
It has been a long time since I've seen that film.
Mm-hmm.
go into Kubo with high expectations.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's what
going
they're
with
telling
low
you to do.
expectations, and you'll just enjoy yourself more. Anyway.
What I love about those movies is always during the credits, well, I don't know if they always do it, but the last couple movies, they'll show you like part of their process, and there's like this skull figure in part of Kubo, and when they show it, you realize this thing is actually enormous. It's like the size of like 5 people.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. And in the movie, obviously, you wouldn't think that because everything in there seems like it's on a smaller scale, but no, this thing was huge. So, like, this is really impressive work.
I saw a clip of like some sort of battle during it, where like they're taking out chunks of the area so some human can walk in, move the things a bit, and then put them back and then take the picture.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane.
Jeez.
They would have to move them back like precisely too.
Yeah, well, they're on like
Rails.
they made a rig for this thing.
Wow.
Like they made a specific rig just to do this stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. No, but it is disappointing talking about just the box office income. Like,
That
Kubo
always
deserves so much
happens.
more. And here's the funny thing. I'm looking at the numbers, and the big difference in the numbers is the actual foreign box office, not domestically in the U.S., which it still has less than all the other films, but it just did really, really poorly in the foreign market.
Really.
Which market specifically, or is this just generalized?
This is just
It's
the
generalized,
generalized
okay.
foreign market.
Because I wouldn't expect this movie to do that well in Japan, being very Japanese-centric and not made by Japanese people.
Yeah, they seem to not like it when people try to do something like that.
I mean,
Obviously, I'm not Japanese, but they sold the idea to me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think they did it wrong. And that movie is just impressive on a technical scale. Like, some of the things they achieve with that style of animation, you'd have to wonder how they did it.
Oh, yo, it's super smooth. Like, it looks fantastic.
Halfway through the movie, I forgot I was watching a stop-motion movie.
Oh, that's awesome. We've come a long way since James and the Giant Peach.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love James as a giant.
We've
Still
come a
a great
long
film.
way since all those Christmas movies from way back when.
Oh,
The Year
like,
Without a Santa Claus, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
talking about like Frosty Snowman.
Exactly,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, those were. Oh man, I just want to say Wallace and Gromit. I don't even have anything to say about it. Just Wallace and Gromit's great.
There was a day that I just wanted to like binge all of their work.
You know how much I like Wallace and Gromit.
I still need to see Shaun the Sheep the movie.
I have not
Same.
seen any of Shaun the Sheep.
Ever?
Nope.
Shaun the Sheep's a treat.
It's pretty good. I heard the movie is fantastic.
It's great because that show doesn't even have any dialogue.
No, it's all very visual, which suits the style very well. Now, for my favorite animated movie,
I was about to.
What
say
a
just
tangent,
there.
guys.
I was about to say, and that's why The Incredibles is my favorite film. After talking about other films, continue.
my favorite animated movie is The Lion King.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jeez.
I should have expected that.
You want
I-
to talk about sequels that never should have happened?
The Lion King 2?
Yeah.
Have you seen The Lion King 2?
I watched it in theaters.
Lion King 2 in theaters?
Yeah, when did that come out?
I thought that was a made-for-home release movie.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Are you thinking about Lion King 1.5?
I remember seeing
Lion King 1.5 was a.
I remember
was a nice
seeing
addition.
as a kid a Lion King film in the theaters. Lion King came out the year I was born, so I couldn't have seen that.
Oh, you're right. You sure it wasn't Lion King 1.5? Because I think that got a theater run.
Maybe.
See, that deserves a theater run because that's legitimately like stands on its own. Just having that like altered perspective of the first movie, it's hysterical.
Yeah, it gives you Timon and Pumbaa, who are standout characters in the original film. So, good idea. They didn't have to make an additional story because we see what happens when they do that with Lion King 2, the made-for-home release film.
The look
First
that you
Lion
gave
King
me
is
just
so good.
I think the premise of that movie was like one of the descendants of Scar and then Simba's daughter got into a relationship. So it was basically like Romeo and Juliet.
then.
And it was just not very good. At the end, everyone's all happy. We all unite. Oh, now we're one Pride Lands again.
So they truly Disneyfied the ending. Got it.
They really, really Disneyfied the ending. The thing about the original Lion King, well, there's a couple things that stand out to me. The soundtrack for that film is
Oh my gosh!
yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh!
yeah.
I was gonna say I was actually literally just looking
Bon
up
Jovi?
Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, and I was like, did that movie even have good songs in it?
no. I don't remember any.
Because like everybody, you think of the Lion King and it's like, it's like, oh my gosh, Circle of Life, and then oh, I just can't wait to be king, and it's like it's all there.
I was half expecting Logan to just burst out into song when you said the Lion King.
Can you feel the love tonight? It's like everything in that movie is just like, oh my god.
The way that movie opens is even fantastic.
It's such a good opening.
Like the circle of life, all the animals coming together to see the birth of Simba, and then like the song ends and just goes to black, and you see the title screen. That's how you sell your movie.
It's so good.
Yeah, Lion King 2 was only on video.
Yep. Just like all those other sequels, like Aladdin 2
Direct to video.
and 3. I think there's 2 Aladdin sequels. Yeah, The Return of Jafar and King of Thieves.
I've seen Return of Jafar. I think I had that one, but I didn't have the original Aladdin.
How many sequels do you need? The thing about The
many that will
Lion
actually
King
make you
is
vote.
there is sequel potential for that series. I feel like they could go forward.
Didn't they make like a recent thing?
The Lion Guard. I was just about to get to that. It is a Disney Junior show. And it started with a TV movie called The Lion Guard, which is about Simba's son.
Is it good?
I've heard that it's okay.
Oh, so you haven't like?
I haven't watched it myself yet. It's something I've wanted to do. Obviously, I'm a big fan of The Lion King.
Lion King 1.5 was straight to DVD
I love
too.
The Lion King.
Is it your favorite animated film?
It is my favorite animated film.
Weird. It's almost as if we were talking about that.
I can't even like tell you what my favorite song from that
Jesus.
movie is. Because they're all so good.
They're all so good.
Scar's a great villain.
Have you ever played the platformer that was on the Genesis?
Yeah, I hate it.
You hate it?
I hate it.
Yeah, it's a bad game. It's a
It is.
legitimately bad game. Just came out on PC, by the way. if you
Yeah,
wanna
no, they
play that.
released that one. They released Aladdin, and then I think they released one more.
Aladdin on Super Nintendo is my favorite Disney game adaptation.
It is the best version of that game.
On Super Nintendo?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was the Super Nintendo and Genesis version different?
Yes.
Yes, very different. Different companies completely. SNES was Capcom.
Yep.
And oh man, they're so good at sound effects on the SNES.
Oh yeah.
Capcom did some great licensed
Goof
titles.
Troop. Goof Troop is also a great game.
The Genesis one is like a platformer where you attack things with a sword, and that's boring.
Why does Aladdin have a sword? And then in the SNES game, like it's very acrobatic. There's lots of jumping and flipping.
It's like actually true to the film.
Yeah.
That dude never slashed a dude in the film.
And then like the actual stages are designed so well. Like you would jump onto an enemy, bounce off of him, then you'd grab the rafters above you, swing to the next platform. It was all super fluid.
And like the violence is like Aladdin style violence. The dude's not apt to murder dudes.
Yeah, it's comic. Like he jumps on a dude's head and he gets
And he's
dizzy.
like, whoa. It's great. Great game.
Lion King game is not. Movie's fantastic. Do I want a sequel? Not necessarily. If I made a sequel, it'd be The Lion Guard.
Okay.
You can't see this, but Josiah and I are staring at each other again.
Yeah.
I think a good Lion King sequel would include just an all-out war between like prides.
I think one of the important things that Lion King did is it was dark.
Yeah, from the beginning, they're like, hey, see this kid and his dad? They're having a great time. Now his dad's dead.
His dad's dead now, guys.
It was Batman.
Yeah, it's Batman. Don't lie to yourself. You like Batman.
I do like Batman, and Simba is Batman.
Simba's Batman.
I would really like to see Disney go back and make a really good 2D animated feature. They tried that with Princess and the Frog, and I think that movie kind of came and went.
Yeah, you don't say.
Obviously, we live in an age where 3D animation just can do a lot more things, but that doesn't take away the magic from 2D animation. Like, you put Winnie the Pooh in front of me, and I'm going to have a good time. I would not watch that in a 3D animated setting.
3D animated anime is awful.
Yeah, it is.
It's like really bad. I'm like, how do you guys know? No.
I've actually seen a 3D animated anime that I really enjoyed. It's like they did all of the keyframes in 3D, but then they went over and painted over it.
In
And
2D?
it looks really good. It's God Eater. It's a terrible anime. The plot's horrible. Everything's it's a
But
children's
it
anime.
looks good.
But it looks so good for
God
a 3D
Eater.
animated.
Is that based on a game?
Yes, it's based on God Eater.
Dylan was telling me to buy that game.
I'm
PSP.
gonna go ahead and say if you like a Monster Hunter, don't, because it's just bad. It's just worse
It's
Monster
bad
Hunter. It's just
worse
worse Monster Hunter. It's
I
not a
don't wanna-
bad game.
I don't want to play worse Monster Hunter. I just want to play Monster Hunter.
Yeah, because I remember like they released God Eater 2 on the PS Vita.
Yeah, and they also released God's Eater, which was a weird way to
do
phrase that.
Weird.
Well, there's God's Eater's Burst, which was on the PSP.
Now I'm just thinking about Danganronpa and how I'm glad that I didn't finish that anime.
That anime
Wait,
is
what?
terrible, but the game seems to be good.
People were like, oh, the best anime of this season was the new Danganronpa anime. And it's like, you guys probably
Nah,
just
son.
haven't played the video games then.
All right, not to get super off track,
No, go for it.
but speaking of Disney 2D animated films, if you haven't seen this, everyone should look up the YouTube video Walt Disney's Multiplane Camera, where he goes and he details this huge like vertical thing that requires a ladder to go up to the top to, that allowed them to do parallax scrolling with backgrounds painted on glass in oil. They slot each one in and they move them individually. It's insane.
That sounds fantastic. I'm going to watch
Look up that video. We're watching that after this podcast.
Okay, sure. Well, I'm glad you said that, because I think we've basically covered it, unless you guys have anything else you want to say.
Zootopia was all right.
Cars 3 shouldn't happen. Why is it happening?
I like Lion King. My name is Brandon Miracle.
I'm Logan Welliver.
I'm Josiah.
You could have put more. Try.
That's not Josiah. Just leave it.
Oh,
Just
wait.
leave it.
Do it like I have media training. I'm Josiah Gooden.
You couldn't even take yourself
I
seriously.
couldn't even. I'm Josiah. I make art for a game called Volpine. Our Kickstarter failed recently. Check us out on Twitter.
That's all there is to it. You've been listening to the Breakroom Arcade podcast, broadcasting live by the water cooler. And that's the Breakroom Arcade, clocking out.